Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast. This is episode 39. I am Supreme King, your host, and joined as always with my co-host. His name is...
It's your guy Omazis.
All right, so I'm going to address this real quick because I know you want to say something about the winter. Yes, it did snow one more time.
It sure
it's already starting to melt. Relax. It's doing this every weekend, apparently, on Fridays to Saturdays. And then by the end of Sundays, it's like almost gone. I think this got to be the last time. So I'm not going to downplay it and make it seem like...
Why would you say that? It's going to snow again.
No, but we're like the second week in March. Like, it's got to be it. It's got to be. Maybe not. I don't know. But it can't be as bad as, like...
No,
hopefully
it won't be,
everybody's
you
party,
called it out.
I hope everybody's, like... their like power and stuff is back on by now, because I know that was an issue and that slowed me down. Like, if anybody wanted to know why I have no content out for a while, like, that was probably why. But I did like cheat and put out a bunch of shorts last week, and I will say I do have stuff already recorded for next week, as well as that super long Alan Wake video that I was working on. It's all recorded. It just hasn't been edited yet. So I'm going to edit that up. Hopefully that's going to be next week, or this week coming up, that is done and out. And then you'll start seeing some more gameplay from Alan Wake rolling out in future Rocket Launcher episodes, I guess. But jam-packed show. We're going to do exactly what we've been doing for the last couple episodes, where Last of Us review of their latest episode will be at the very end. We're going to talk about the Capcom show that we saw. There's also a little showcase that we saw as well that was for the console called the Playdate, and we're going to talk about that somewhere towards the end of this as well. And we're going to actually start off with Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Probably one of the biggest hyped games to come out of nowhere. They're done making all that weird stuff. They was doing some sort of Dead by Daylight clone thing at one point. And then they had their fighters and everything. Their fighters was fine. Fighter Z was fine.
Fighters was good. Kakarot was a nice, like, very detail of the story. But now we're back to the Budokai Tenkaichi series, and I am excited for that.
Yeah. I have like really crazy memories with it because I played Budokai Tenkaichi 2 specifically every like Saturday at one point. Like, I remember this was back when I was like a lot skinnier. I'm trying to get back to that weight, but I used to wake up and would do like push-ups and sit-ups, and then like basically get sweaty and tire myself out a little bit. Then I would hop in the shower, and then I would like play that particular game. It was like a ritual almost, where I played that particular game for like 2-3 hours straight. And I had all of these like 5-man teams and stuff that I had lined up, and I was just going against like the computer at random. And I just had it on the hardest difficulty and just ran through all my 5-man teams that I liked and did that. And I used to take the in-game music out, and I had like on my computer, I used to position the speakers behind me so that it kind of blends in with the game. And I was playing a lot of action themes from random movies. Like, I think V for Vendetta was like one of them. The Matrix Reloaded, there was a couple themes in there, and like all these like movies, and I was just like playing it to those themes as well as different themes that was in the actual series. Like the death theme when like Goku was like blasting Frieza, or when like Cell was dying or whatever, like that theme was in there. I was doing all of that. It was to the point. Yeah, it was to the point where I almost memorized what theme was coming next and would like time certain specials so that I can like win at my favorite moment in the song. Like, that's how dedicated I was to this. I was so dedicated to that. I did have Tenkaichi 1, but I didn't like it as much. And or somebody didn't like me like not mentioning that on the short. Like, if you saw my short, like, there was somebody who was like upset that I didn't mention the first game as much as I was praising the second and the third. It was just because the first one seemed like it was more bare bones to me. But
It
the
was.
second one, they really like amped it up and like balanced everybody. The third one was chaotic, but they had like every person in there. It was to the point where they had a dude in there that they called Soldier. I was like, yo, they was trying to pack so many characters, and all I gotta say is for the new one, you got no excuse in putting all those characters in there day one because you did it on PS2.
Oh yeah, put them all. Put them all. So my memories actually go all the way back to just the Budokai series before they added the Tenkaichi.
Yeah. Me too.
One of my favorite things, it was from the first one, Dragon Ball Z Budokai, was the what if stories where they had Vegeta go Super Saiyan because he won at the end of the arc against Goku. And then they had Frieza win and he like wished for immortality and then went and destroyed Earth. But then the best one was Cell and he absorbed Krillin instead of 18. And he became like small and orange and the whole thing was like a nightmare for Cell. But like it was so great just watching that and playing through it. Then I remember actually from Budokai 2. Even though like the story missions, I did like the chess piece movement around thing. But I did love the random fusions they had. They had Tien and Yamcha fused together, and then Goku and Hercule had a fusion that was just extra weak. Goku, because they used the earrings. That junk was great, and I know Tenkaichi 2 had the what if stories again because they had when Raditz turns good. And that's what I'm looking forward to for 4 with so many different characters. I would love if they just go all in on like a bunch of like random fusions and random what if stories and things like that. Like that's what I want to see in this game. I don't need it to just be only a retelling of Dragon Ball Z. I don't need that just again. Like give me those what if stories. That's what I look forward to.
All I'm saying is they better put all the characters in there because they got no excuse at this point because Goku with the white hair was like over a year ago at this point. Like we know all the other characters, so like you got to put all of them in there. You got to put like I remember Budokai Tenkaichi 3 just had like an influx of Gokus. It was like every version of Goku they could think of was in there. So I would imagine
that's another thing with the multiverse stuff that's going on in Dragon Ball Super. That could even add to the what if stories, things like that. Like you could get a Goku and Jiren fusion, or maybe a future Trunks and current like adult Gohan gets a fusion. I would love to see if they do something too, where it's like you could play as Super Saiyan 4 Goku and like fight against like Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Just add all the GT stuff in there as well. Like it will be so good.
The hottest part about 3 I remember is they had Super Saiyan Goku where he was in GT, like Super Saiyan Goku 3 and he had the tail. And I remember that was a huge draw because that was not in 2. But I do remember how chaotic they made 3. So I'm hoping they take the feedback and they make it a little bit more balanced. Because I thought 2 was like perfectly balanced. Because if you had somebody that was like a Super Saiyan 2 and you was going against somebody like Frieza or somebody like Bojack or something, he would get pieced up real quick.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I remember the only time that they kind of like tipped the balance a little bit was like if you had a Super Saiyan 2 and he was going against Broly, like it took you going Super Saiyan 3 in order to really piece up Broly. Like he was almost at the same level as Super Saiyan 2 in the actual game. And it made some sense, it made sense how they did that. I remember little details like you could hear the same sound effect of Cell's feet when he was like landing on the ground or coming up in the air or walking or whatever. Like he had that same noise that he used to make. I don't know if you remember that, but like all of that was in that particular game. I played that game the most.
Yeah, I can see.
I could give a funny story time real quick about how I got played the first time I tried to buy Tenkaichi 3 because I bought it So I was still playing on the PS2 when everybody was moved on to the PS3 for a little bit longer because I couldn't afford that thing. Because at the time it was like 600 basically. And if you remember, at one point, the school that you and me came from that shall not be named, they had a GameStop on the campus that was like very, very, very short lived. And it was like in between semesters. I went into the GameStop and bought the game for like, I want to say 20 something dollars used, like $24 or something used. And back at that time, it was still a big deal for me because I had no money. So scrapping $24 around to do that, and I had to catch the bus up there and back. I did that, and then like the next semester. So what happened was I brought it back, put it in the PS2. It didn't work. It was like broke or whatever. Like the disc was just not reading. And I didn't know what was going on, but because like I didn't really have that money back then, and the next time I had to go back on campus was like a few days later or whatever, it was like, okay, I don't have to go back into this date, but it's still within the 2 weeks of time that I had, because I had like 2 weeks to return it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to wait and return it. But when I went back on campus, they had tore the sign down and emptied out the whole area. And I was asking people like, what happened? It was like, they closed down. I'm like, they closed down? Like what? Dang. And that was just it. I just basically had a broken game. And so I was like, dog, I was so mad. I was so mad.
I would be heated.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun times. Overall, you know, I still had access to all the DB games, Dragon Ball Z games later and everything, especially now, right? I can easily probably emulate that one. And I might actually do it. I might do it just for the channel and just have like content like on the podcast at the very least, because I'm trying to test out streaming a little bit more, because I have the setup where I don't have to tear it down anymore. Because of everything else. So I'm gonna test that out later on. But yeah, all I'm saying is I just want to make sure they have all the characters there at launch, just because you know how they've been lately, where it's like, oh, here's another pack of like 3-4 people for like $10-15. They did that with Xenoverse like crazy. It was just going on for years.
The only argument that I'll make for Xenoverse in comparison to what they might do for this was that those people didn't exist at the time.
Yes.
Right?
See, I understand that.
Xenoverse was at least because it's just like, hey, these people that were just introduced 2 weeks ago, we're going to put them in the game. So it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I don't need them doing it to where it's like, we're going to have everything up until the Cell Saga, and then like, oh, here's the Majin Buu pack that you could purchase. Like, no. All these people exist. Put them in the game.
Yeah. But they don't got that excuse now. They really don't got that excuse.
They don't.
Unless they just come out with another movie and then that particular person is not in there, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But
they have everything up until
but you have all
Dragon
of
Ball Super superheroes.
Yeah, you have all of this stuff. I'm like, you even have like that Android Boo that they made for Fighter Z. Like you have all of these characters now. So you do not have no excuse.
I really want to go into it.
Yeah.
The manga, I think the new arc is focused on a teenage Goten and Trunks as they really try and take on like superhero roles. They have that too. Like it's like, just go for the manga. Why not? It already exists. But yeah, no excuses.
But I don't
to, like,
think
leave anybody out.
Yeah, I don't think that they can afford to like leave out certain sagas though at this point, because you're still trying to put together a fighter. Yeah, and it's only still just been announced. They have some time, you know. I don't think there's a release date at all yet. It was just announced, but yeah, that's a bigger deal. It's interesting because that Dead by Daylight clone that they just made, like it kind of just came out and went. It was quick. Didn't nobody care.
Yeah. Like within like a day.
That was it. So yeah, obviously this is gonna make up for that and probably a whole lot more. I don't know if it's a day one buy for me though, because I still want to wait and see how the characters look. Like I'm definitely gonna buy it and play it, but it's like they better make sure it's all there, because I do not want to see what I saw with Fighter Z. Where did you see that ultimate pack of Fighter Z where it was like over $100 or something? If it wasn't on sale, it's like I'm not paying over $100 for this. So yeah, like I need to. Other than that, I will wait for a super sale and play it. It's not gonna be the same as like NBA 2K or even WWE 2K. It's like it's still the same DBZ. Like no matter what else you try, it's still the same DBZ. So I'll wait, but I am definitely gonna play it. We can move on from that. I do want to mention I'm gonna try to stay as close to what I got on paper, so I'm not jumping around. But the very next thing, I guess we can go from good news to technically bad news, depending on how you look at it. But the last gen version of Hogwarts was pushed back until May. So I guess this is like one extra month for anybody who has like the PS4 or Xbox One. Like it's pushed back.
If you know, I feel like for anybody who has a PS4 or Xbox One, if you know that at some point, even if it's like next year, at some point you plan on getting a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or S, wait. I would say do not get this game for the last gen if you know you're going to get it on next gen, because the fact that it's like they're pushing it back because they're like, oh, it's starting to act janky when we remove these things and we got to keep removing stuff for the last gen system. I feel like you're just not going to get the optimized version of this, right? Which is crazy that like even the Switch one is slated for July, the end of July, because it's like we really got to like lower everything. I'd say just wait. Like even though it's a great game, it's gonna be great like a year from now. You're not like you're missing. You could say you're missing out, but at the same time, like think about it. Like this will be the first game you get on that new console to really dive into this world. I don't know. I just feel like with how hearing that there's like we got to keep pushing it back because we got to keep taking things away. It's like, well, then don't get that.
If I'm not mistaken, there's not a hard release date for the Switch version. Is that true?
It's slated for July 25th, but people think that it's gonna get pushed because this one got pushed.
Okay. Yeah. I think that version probably should be avoided altogether. I think you should definitely go for either the Series X, the PC, or the PS5. I don't think you should try to do it. I know people probably want to play it portable, but there's also the Steam Deck maybe. I don't know. I would avoid that version just because it's like that one's going to be like that's the one. Yeah, but also like the messaging is that this one is the least important almost. To like that's kind of the messaging, or at least it's like we're going to work on this when we get done with everything else. That's the way it looks. So
see, I looked at it as it's going to be worse than the PS4. Like it looked like it's like we had to take away to make sure it works on the PS4, and then from that base model, take away until it can work on the Switch. And it's like that's going to be extra bare bones, and this game does not deserve a bare bones treatment. Like there's much flying around and moving and all this other stuff that you do in this game. You don't want popping, and you want to be able to see everything. Like the whole point is like if you can see it, you can fly to it. Well, that's not going to do any good if you can't see it that far because this is popping in. So it's like I would say just wait. Like honestly, to get the best experience out of this, just wait.
Yeah, you always want to have the best experience for every game too. You know.
Yeah.
Plus, by the time you get to that time frame, I'm pretty sure that $70 price point might drop to $50. You know.
Yeah.
At that point, and then just past that, you're looking at the holiday season. That's usually when a lot of people try to get the actual systems at that point. And so you might actually get your hands on one of the systems if you haven't got one already. And then you can have that game at a fraction of a price because of Black Friday or something, you know?
Yep. And then thoroughly enjoy it the way it was intended.
They claim that the systems are supposed to be more like of ready and available. They're still not as ready and available in every state. It seemed like in some states, but hopefully by then they should have it on the shelf. Like, I'm not listening to anything they got to say if it's not on the shelf everywhere by Black Friday. It's like, that should be a goal. Yeah.
I haven't seen it on the shelf, but I know for some of the GameStops that I go to, if you go, I would like to buy a PS5, they're in the back.
Okay.
Like, it's like all the ones I've been to. Like, I actually, last time I went to there, to a GameStop, I think it was actually to pick up Hogwarts. And there was a guy there, and he was just like, yeah, I'm here to buy a PS5, and the person just walked to the back and brought out a PS5. Like, so they don't have them in the front, but there was a little paper on the door that said, we have PS5s.
All right. Well, ask and ye shall receive.
Yeah. So they should have them, but I wonder if they're not putting it on the shelf because they don't have, like, enough to, like, really fill this shelf. Like, if it's like, we have 4 in the back, like something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, ask and you shall receive. And the people on the Xbox side, they were asking and they received a release date for Starfield. And I kind of gotta put my fanboy hat on for a second because I was not happy with how people was handling this because I thought it wasn't fair. But apparently, so Starfield has their release date that they mentioned is going to be September 6th, right? And it's all fine and dandy. It was just I didn't like how everybody was saying it's delayed into that point instead of just saying it was September 6th. And I kind of felt like they were being a little bit harsh on it and acting.
Why are they saying delayed? I thought it was always supposed to release quarter 4 this year.
It was because well, they did their little, not E3, but their summer show last year, and they had Starfield on it. And somewhere in that show, I think it was Sarah. What is her name? Correct me. I'm sorry, chat. Or not chat. We not live. Sarah Bond. That's her. Sarah Bond is her name. Like, she said at some point that everything that we were going to see at that show was supposed to be like released within a year. And so that gave the cutoff from June to June, right? And then going in is like, it's only like 3 months, but what we got to understand too is like, if they were doing it like that, they wouldn't have a holiday season game. And then everything would have been crammed right then and there because they still didn't do a release. Yeah. They didn't do a release date for Forza Motorsport. But I'm pretty confident that's going to be the most polished out of everything because it's Forza. It's like they know exactly what to do with Forza. There's no, like, at that point they have that, right? They have that formula. So I don't expect that to be like a disaster. It's a racing game, that one's the simulator version. But they didn't give a release date for that one. I honestly thought that one probably was going to be like in the November slot. I've said on record here that I thought Starfield was going to be in November and Forza was going to be probably August or September because I was like, you got to put them in certain quarters. It's like you wouldn't smash them all right then and there anyway. That's what I was just thinking. But everybody else was like putting the negative out there and was trying to say like Microsoft still has a problem. And I'm like, they just shadow dropped the game. Hi-Fi Rush. They just shadow dropped it. And that was still Bethesda because people were saying like, oh, is Bethesda still Bethesda? I was like, was Hi-Fi Rush buggy? I didn't get no reports saying it was buggy. It definitely...
Also, I don't know. I've never really heard of... Does that many games really drop in June? Like, I don't think that many drop for the summer.
So the way the record was supposed to be was like, it was supposed to be by June. So it was from June to June.
Yeah, whatever. I never took that serious either. I thought, I'm just happy to hear that it's coming out this year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about like June and it's like, oh, sorry, it's September. In fact, every game has been getting like pushed back like a month or two before its release. At least this one has a solid sounding release date. Like, just let it
It
I
was just
don't
annoying
understand
to
the
me
hate.
because I was like, in order to really have your arguments be valid, you have to literally ignore Hi-Fi Rush and you have to ignore Redfall having a release date before June, which was in May, right? You have to like ignore these things to try to say, oh, there's a problem with Microsoft and there's a problem with Bethesda. And I'm like, but they still release something and they're still going to release a game before that cutoff. And it's like, why would you put them all right next to each other? I thought that it was a bad decision for them when they did Halo and Forza back to back the way they did in 2021. I was like, that should be spaced out more themselves because it was like, these are too big to be directly next to each other. It was like a matter of weeks apart. It was, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't know, but yeah,
I
I'm
agree
like,
with you.
I felt some type of way with how some people was trying to like be controversial and stuff. It came off a little fake to me, but it also seemed disingenuous because they were ignoring the other stuff Bethesda was doing, you know. But at the very least, the good out of it is it's going to release on December 6th, and they're going to have a direct
September, right?
Yeah, September. I don't know how I keep saying December. My bad.
Because
September.
probably everyone assumed December. So yeah, September 6th.
My bad,
Okay.
my bad. So yeah, and then also there's supposed to be a direct that's going to be June 11th, 2023. And I think that lines up with their big summer show. So they're going to do another showcase of Starfield. I would imagine they're probably going to do a lot more stuff anyway there at the same time. Because the summer is usually when they do their big show.
Yeah.
Last year wasn't that good though. I will admit they had a little bit of some misses, just because the games they were showing was just not what people really want. Even though I think not Hi-Fi Rush. What's it called? The Rick and Morty game.
High on Life.
High on Life. That still got mostly a positive reaction for the people who did like it and stuff. Like the people who did play it and everything. So that was still a positive. But yeah, they're going to do a big direct then. And then they're going to have Starfield's like other showing. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be just as polished as it needs to be. My prediction though, honestly, I think they might shadow drop Forza Motorsport that direct. Mainly because they don't have no release date for it, and I'm pretty sure that's the most polished thing they got out of everything.
Oh.
And they got to stick that in there somewhere. If they don't put it there, then I would imagine it's going to have Starfield's original spot, which was November, but just 2023. That's what I think for Forza. Other than that, I think Redfall will be out for about a month, so that's going to, we'll know if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
And I hope to get like my super PC somewhere in that time frame, or probably in November, because them Black Friday deals are good. I saw they had good deals for the PCs, so hopefully I can do it by that time. But yeah,
I might update my graphics card finally. That's the main thing I need to do.
But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that. I don't got to rant about it any longer. I just thought that the people was being a little disingenuous with that. Now, there was actual bad news for the next game that I'm going to mention here. Suicide Squads. And I know you probably going to have a lot to say about this.
Woo!
So yeah, Suicide Squads, for anybody know, the development team or Warner Brothers or whoever, they looked at it and was like, the backlash is too great. We need to pull this indefinitely. And so it's just pulled indefinitely. I don't even know what they can do because they built it as a shooter. So it was like, you have to change his whole philosophy. You have to start from zero, in my opinion, if you're going to change it. Because the only reason people don't like it is because it's a shooter, and because you're going to have like probably microtransactions and all that stuff. So I don't know what they think they can do, but yeah, go ahead.
When you hear something's coming from the creators of the Arkham series, you're expecting this fantastic single-player, story-driven, like character-driven game where you really feel like these characters, not a generic four-person looter shooter with microtransactions and live service elements. They said it's going to be released later this year. Some reports say it's going to be next year. If it is still coming out later this year, they said that they're polishing stuff. I don't think they can overhaul the full game by the later this year. If it's coming out next year, then I feel like they'll try and remove live service elements, and we're gonna get a repeat of Gotham Knights, where you could tell something was removed, right? And there's something off about the game, and I think that's what it's gonna be. They messed up. Let's just be honest. They messed up. The two heads of Rocksteady, the people who got the Batman Arkhamverse going, they left last year and everything, and it's just, and they're gonna go start a smaller company, and what that tells me is their company got too large, that there's too many influence and business stuff going on, that they want to start something small, because then they get more creative control over it. So this game, it's going to be dead on arrival. Here's what they need to do, and I figured they need to just release this game as is, live service and everything. Just Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, release it and let it fail. But then start working on a new Suicide Squad game that's what people actually want, and call it the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That could be the one.
They might have to just change. They might have to take the Justice League out. They might have to just.
No, you got to do it that way. You just got to add the word "the" in front to show that it's a whole new thing with a whole new development team that can actually be a good one, and that should have been the first one to begin with. Then we should have something in terms of just a mythological one called the Rocksteady cut, that that somebody keeps arguing should be released and everything, and it won't get released
until they release it in box view, and it's not widescreen, and then you just got to watch it that way or play it that way. I was really shocked that they thought it was going to work to begin with. It just seemed like they were looking at, I think this was a superhero thing in general, because almost all of them had this type of thing going on where they were heavily relying on microtransactions. They thought they were just going to milk the fan base dry. And you could argue the MCU probably has something to do with it, because they were looking at all their numbers. It was even their side movies are doing billions of dollars in the box office. So they was just thinking, we about to retire early, and we all gonna come out with this game.
What I keep saying is even with that though, it's if you look at the games, right, and everything, it was like the Infamous series did great. Yeah. The Batman Arkham series did great, and then Marvel's Avengers did horribly. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a single player campaign, didn't do as well, but it got some of the stink from Avengers. But everyone who's played it has said it's been a fantastic game. Then Gotham Knights didn't do well, and you could tell that had live service stuff in it. And then they're releasing Suicide Squad, which the problem is when everyone looks at it at best, they say this looks like a fusion of Marvel's Avengers and Anthem, which is two failed games. That's not good, that was your inspiration for it. So it's just and it's again that whole thing where you have four characters who are vastly different from each other, but you have to design every level to be so bland and generic that any of the four could do it. That was the Marvel's Avengers issue. I would rather there be parts of the level that I can't access because I chose to be the wrong person. Because then at least there's a replayability thing. It's here's this thing that's underwater. Dang, next time I'll come back as King Shark. Or here's this thing in the air that Captain Boomerang and King Shark can't get to. Deadshot can, because he has the jetpack. Or maybe Harley Quinn can parkour her way up there to eventually get it. Cool. And I played King Shark, so I'm going to have to come back as one of those two. That would have been much better than generic city. I don't know. It's just
I just don't know, how do you change it if you had it designed to be a shooter?
They won't. I don't think they will. It's just going to be, they keep saying polish. I honestly think they might just add a few more stuff into the game that was going to be the live service part, and then make less things you have to pay for, so more things you can earn in game. That's honestly what I think it is.
That's what all of them should be, if that's the case. But I mean,
they need to stop trying to milk everything. Not everything can just be Fortnite and Call of Duty. Stop trying to find the new one. release a solid just game and call it a day. It's okay to make a solid single player game. Or if you really want to design this as a 4-player game, make all the characters distinct so you have to bring 4 people and everything, because again, you need King Shark and Deadshot to go do something. Like, make it that way. Don't follow this live service. They're just, because they're not even trying. I think that's the issue, is for these live service games, they're not fun. They're all very boring and generic. And then it's just like, oh, but buy this super cool volcano costume because it's only going to be in the store for 2 days. So either pay us money or grind the level over and over and over again until you can get this. And it's just like, there's no replayability. Like, I don't know. It's stupid.
It just seems silly that it was going to be more of an indefinite delay. It's just, I don't know.
And I think that's another thing. It's hard to justify, like, I don't know, for a superhero game. Like, it's just crazy because Spider-Man did so well. And it's just like, why are you not doing that? Like, Spider-Man and Arkham have done well. And you're just like, nah, we want that Call of Duty money. It's like, you're not going to get it from the superhero stuff. And it's just the RPG elements of we need to equip this certain thing because it has these certain numbers. I don't think that works for a superhero game. Right? Yeah. Like,
whoever's out there playing
get better because he put on a different, like, shirt. Like, a different color shirt. You should get, like, it's weird. I don't know.
Anybody playing Fortnite or anybody playing Roblox, they're not going to budge. No. That's something that the industry just needs to understand at this point. They're literally not going to budge. They're going to stay there if that's what they want to play. They're not going to budge. You're not going to compete with that. It's too big at this moment. You can't compete with it. All you can do is just make your own thing and be original. And it seems like they're taking, original franchises and just making them unoriginal. So as long as they have that philosophy, it don't matter how long you delay it. It's going to always be that bad. It is what it is.
Speaking of bad games, I gotta bring this up real quick. I gotta call out IGN. So, real quick, there's a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, Mutant Mayhem. It's coming out. That's really stylized to me, like Into the Spider-Verse, and I like that type of animation, so I'll probably check it out. But what I want to call out from IGN is their whole thing. They said in a recent tweet, they said after Gotham Knights. Funny enough, it reminded me of it because it's on the screen. But after Gotham Knights, an incredible AAA open-world co-op action game that captured all the fun of TMNT, it's time for the Turtles to get as much love as the Batman sidekicks. That's what they just try and say. We should get a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game that's AAA. One, Gotham Knights, you can only do up to 2-player for all of the campaign, and nobody wants to be just 2 of the Turtles. So it's really weird that they would... That's the comparison. They only did it because it's 4 people, though.
Right.
And second, I like this game, right? It has its issues for sure. 100%. It's by no means a perfect game, but I did enjoy my time with it.
Okay.
IGN's review of it when it first came out, they gave it a 5 out of 10 and labeled it mediocre and said Gotham Knights is a co-op-centric caped adventure that made my interest wane thanks to poor combat, a transparently predictable mystery, and grueling progression. So when it first came out, it's 5 out of 10, and now they're saying it's an incredible AAA experience. Like, this is why I don't be trusting IGN, because they just say what they want to say to sell a story.
Yeah. What really be embarrassing with IGN is, like, sometimes when they show their gameplay, when they give them the games to play something,
they don't know how to play.
Yeah, you can clearly see that now the cat's out the bag, basically. Is that how you say it? The cat out the bag? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can see that there's some frauding going on.
What was that game? Because you showed me what shooter was it? Was it Halo?
It was Halo. You remember they didn't duck, they couldn't run, they couldn't aim. They couldn't do none of it. It was just like, how? Like, it's like there's like games and then there's third or first person shooters, basically. That's how it is at this point. Yeah. And the controls are the same at this point, no matter where you play. or what controller you have. It was like, how did you not be able to do that? And you're IGN. That was insane to watch. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. I loved the 90s movies. The first 2 out of the 3, shout out to Kevin Nash. If anybody didn't know, Kevin Nash was Shredders, and the second one, or Super Shredder. And they had their moments where it's like, this appeals to kids and adults, and then you could watch it as a kid and see it one way, and then watch it as an adult and see it the next way. I love it when it's like that. The new movie don't look like it's gonna have that kind of layer, but at least for the people who appreciate it, they'll have something. I'm sticking with the 90s ones, but I might catch this like probably on Netflix or wherever it goes. If it goes on a streaming service, I might catch it there. I don't think I would go to the theater to see it, but shout out to them for having it. I will say, yes, it is time for a AAA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. It's been a lot of games lately where you go into the sewers and you run through the sewers and there's this hidden area and stuff. And it's like, yeah, if you could do that in other games, I'm like, that's the whole point. Other than that, you just have a basic open world city in a way, I guess. And then, Foot Clan people everywhere, whatever. You could do that. They could figure that out. You know what I'm saying? And they got plenty of like the characters and stuff they can use. Shout out to Toka and Razor from the movies and stuff. Like, but then they can have like, Sheamus as a crossover, I guess, or something. I don't know. They have all of that, So yeah, they got no excuse basically, because I remember there was that Spider-Man like mod where somebody took like one of the Ninja Turtles and they put him on top of Spider-Man, and they just basically went throughout the city and tried their hardest not to use the web swinging, and it was like almost like it was a ninja, like a turtle game basically. So yeah, they can do it. I want to see it. But yeah, we can move on. We can get to a nice big section that might not be too big, however you want to look at it. But the Capcom Spotlight. Did you see this Spotlight?
I would say that little hour before, there was like no chemistry from them. Like, there was one of the girls, she kept trying to, like, she wanted to say something, and then she would just like close her mouth and just like sit back.
Shout out to that one person though, because I think the channel that she operates is called The Spear Hunter. I am actually subscribed to her as a do you say civilian? Is that the correct term? Under my watch only account, not my actual like YouTube as a YouTuber account, but I got a regular account that I had for years where I'm just a viewer. And so her content is like top tier when it comes to Resident Evil stuff. Like, she got some really good Resident Evil stuff, and that was like where I like would watch if I need a Resident Evil fix before some of the games come out. And I think she handled like the analysis of Resident Evil 4 remake as well as Resident Evil 8 really good. I think so. But yeah, I guess the chemistry was probably off with them because they were just, I think, YouTubers. I think the rest of the other people were YouTubers. I didn't know who the other people were. But you pluck them out and you put them together, they don't know each other. It's no chemistry really. Yeah. But yeah, I guess.
But the games, they seemed okay. Like, there's more Mega Man collection.
Yeah, so they got another Mega Man collection. I think at this point, there should just be a Mega Man game. Yeah. That's just kind of how I look at it. That should just be a game. A new one, next gen. It could still be 2D. But, like, is there a way to make a next gen 2D game? Do we know the concept? We can figure that out, I guess.
A lot of the next gen stuff, really, it would be detailed backgrounds, and then they can have more going on without having to worry about like the screen stuttering, right? Like, you can widen out, like there's no, I guess, pop in for like speed running through. Because I know sometimes, remember in certain games, you'll be running forward, and then all of a sudden there's an invisible wall in a 2D game, and you have to wait, and then the enemies start loading in. The enemies can load in without having to reach. Yeah, without you having to reach that invisible wall, the enemies can start loading in by the time you're there. Like, I think that's where the next gen stuff comes in, is just the performance.
Yeah.
And super detailed, like I said, super detailed backgrounds will look nice. Textures.
Yeah, well, here's another network collection where it's about 50, 50 plus Mega Man games. And I don't know, it was only like, I think it was 11 or something like that. I forgot. But
It was like 11 of them, yeah. The Battle Network.
Yeah. All I just know is every time I see them say, here's another Mega Man collection, in my head, I'm always like, where's the new Mega Man game? It almost seems like a no-brainer at this point. It's like, where's the new Mega Man game? So, yeah, that's my request as far as Mega Man. Like, out with the old. Well, not necessarily out with the old, in with the new. Just add the new to it. You can keep the old, but add the new to it.
Yeah.
Now, Street Fighter 6, I think, was the very next thing that they showed. That still looks good. It still has the release date of June 6, 2023. The only thing that seemed kind of odd is that they're adding a lot of commentary to it that seems like, I don't know if it's going to mesh correctly. But it's like they had everybody.
The fighting seemed like a more like wrestling style too, or a UFC, where like your commentators going on. I thought some of the commentators were interesting. Like, of course, Zelina Vega's on there.
But they got to do it the way NBA 2K does it. The 2K, like, it seems flawless with them. You would have thought you was playing a real game sometimes.
That's and then what they said it's going to be. Because they said it's like reacting to specifically what you're doing in the match. So we'll see.
Yeah, because with like NBA 2K, I know they always do like updates to it throughout the year. Maybe it's because it brings in so much money that they can keep bringing in the people to just do it. But they update like if you plan on like a certain particular day and like a holiday, they acknowledge the holiday. They acknowledge like injuries and things that like they acknowledge stuff in NBA. And so, I mean, obviously you wouldn't have to worry about too many real life elements in Street Fighter 6, but it sounds like people just did their lines and then they went home, and then it's up to the developing team to like mesh them together in certain ways, I guess. And I don't know if it's going to mesh correctly, but I know, man, NBA 2K, they got that flawless. I sometimes wish that they did that with the WWE commentary, because within the 2K games for WWE, you could also tell it's not really as fluid as it should be. But man,
truth
for NBA, man, they got it. They just have it. Same thing with the NFL games. They got it. So yeah, hopefully they do that. But apparently also with the Street Fighter game, there's supposed to be some sort of digital museum that they're doing that's going to be released the week after, I guess. Which I don't know how they're doing that, but yeah, there's going to be a museum, however they're going to do it. Maybe you just go into like a website or something. I don't know how they do it. Well, that seemed odd to me. They just kind of threw that out there. I was like, all right. All right. But yeah, June 6th, it does look like a really good game. The new character that does more like Def Jam Vendetta moves looked pretty hot. It was pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
He was like pure wrestler, basically. So, yeah. The next thing I think they showed was actually right before the next thing, they also mentioned that for their online games going forward, you're going to need a Capcom ID.
Capcom account. Yep. You need a Capcom
I was like,
account.
oh no. In my head,
everybody has to have their own. Ugh.
It might work for like crossplay maybe, but outside of crossplay, it's probably just going to be like you could see what they were setting up, because the very next thing they showed was the Exo Primal thing. And then they were talking about how they were going to have their open beta for March 17th through March 19th. And they were going on and on about that Dino survival mode. But
yeah,
I remember the only thing I was thinking about was like transactions, live service. And so they're gearing up for that, I guess. But that particular game is set to be released on July 14th, I believe. But the beta is here in March, so if you want to beta test it, you can. That was like one of the worst looking things on the show to me. I'm gonna be honest, just for me, it kind of was.
So I don't know. I wouldn't say it was the worst looking thing on the show. I wouldn't say it's the worst looking thing I've seen, but it did kind of, to me, it looked like Anthem, where the enemies were now dinosaurs instead of aliens. Like that's basically what it looked like to me. It just looked, there were people in robot suits, and it looks like they're doing a multiverse thing, and somebody's dropping in dinosaurs for some reason, and you fight hordes of dinosaurs. Like it just okay. I don't. Maybe it doesn't need to be more than that. I want to see some gameplay for it first. It might be a fun little.
I thought they had already did like a beta for this already because I was seeing. I'm pretty sure I saw that. Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't know. I'm not really too interested in it. I'll probably watch somebody play, like to like see its first release. But I'm not really interested to be honest with you. I'm really not. But that's okay. That's okay. I think the next thing was like Ghost Trick Remastered. Also June release date June 30th 2023. So it's right before July. So maybe July 4th would be like right around the corner. You can play this and eat some barbecue or something. I wasn't interested in this either, I'm gonna be honest. I looked at it, I was like, it's all right.
Yeah, it's me neither.
Right. Not to be negative about it, I just wasn't really interested, but then they showed the Monster Hunter Rise. They gave you a reminder. It was like, hey, this is multi-plat now. So here you go. Here's Monster Hunter. Which I was like, all right. My co-host rage quit the other one. I don't know if y'all knew that. He rage quit. This is not for me. He rage quit Monster Hunter World, I think is that one.
Yeah. I went into wanting a more seamless multiplayer. And it wasn't, and then still got it going, and it was. I mean, I can see where it's for some people. I wasn't. It was like, okay, I don't know.
Now the cool part was the part that came right after that, where they really dove into their like Resident Evil stuff, and with Resident Evil, I am looking forward to that movie that's going to be later on in this summer. It's going to be starring Leon. It's more live action. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, so
this was like high animation. Like
what did I say? Live action. Live action is not correct, but yeah, high animation, and he has the same look as from the more newer games and everything. And so, I think that also is the first time him and Jill kind of team up. I think is what they were saying. And you saw Jill. Jill looked exactly how she looked in the remake of Resident Evil 3. And so I'm looking forward to that for sure. And then boom, they hit you with the demo. So the Resident Evil 4's remake, the demo. So now the demo, I watched people play it. I'm actually avoiding the demo for what it is, and I just kind of want to wait until I just play the game itself. Because I'm pretty sold on it.
Demo, right? Chainsaw demo?
Yeah, with the chainsaw man, he was coming in. He was just like when we were playing Resident Evil 5. He was pretty much the same, but he was more textured, more up to date or whatever. But he still had his animations like in that one showing where you can block the chain with your knife, which is still ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
it's so ridiculous. Yeah. I was like, yo, let me find that knife. I definitely need that. I need that to be my new steak knife. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. You got the
steaks coming at you, attacking you. It got to be that strong.
The steak with the chainsaw. Have you ever seen those clips of people having a crab and the crab is still alive and they grab the knife? And it was like swinging around.
That's when you need that knife so you can fight back too.
You got to fight back the crab so you can get the crab's legs. Okay.
Earn that dinner.
All right. But yeah, definitely looking forward to the Resident Evil stuff. This was the biggest highlight for me outside of probably Street Fighter. Yeah, Resident Evil is going strong, man. It's going strong. There was a video I remember I wanted to make where I was just like, can like Silent Hill knock Resident Evil off his throne? I honestly don't think so. Like I know it's supposed to come out and they had like a series of games that they wanted to do and a movie and stuff. It's like I don't think it's gonna knock Resident Evil. Resident Evil is an oil machine at this point. They have their formula, even when they put out something that's considered a dud, it's like it still shines in the long run. Like Resident Evil 3, for a lot of people, they were upset that it kind of cut out a lot of content, the remake. And even now it's like, well, after the fact, people like it because you got it cheaper and it felt like it was worth the price and everything. You can get through it. So I am definitely here for it. Anything else you want to say about this show? How would you rate this show?
I'd give the show like a B, because I think the Resident Evil stuff and the Street Fighter stuff really did carry the rest. Yeah. And for some, I don't remember, because I just always go, oh, it's another Mega Man pack. But I don't know if the Battle Network ones have been collected in this way before. So for the major Mega Man fan who wants it like updated, it would be good for them. So I'd give it a B. I think the Resident Evil stuff really helped it. And I mean, who doesn't like a surprise demo drop, right?
Yeah.
Also, do you think they'll eventually remake 5 and 6? Or are they going to avoid them?
That's a good question.
Evil? I think I would love a remade Resident Evil 5 and 6, to be honest.
I think if they do, they might do exactly what Suicide Squad wants to do, and they probably just change it. I think they're probably going to change it. Like, I think you're still going to have Chris and Shiva for 5, and you'll still probably have what might seem like a co-op dynamic, but you're going to see it like in a God of War kind of thing unless you play co-op. But the context of it is going to be right in line with Resident Evil 8, 4 remake, 2 remake. Like, they're going to make it more horror-based, I think.
But I mean, if it's still co-op, you have to try that one too and compare.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
You can replay 5 and then play that 5 and compare the two.
I don't know if I mentioned to you before, but Resident Evil Revelations 2, I believe, is fully co-op.
Okay.
But I don't know if you actually want to go through the full series the way I am, but that's fully co-op. But I wanted to, like, I'm trying to do a chronologically ordered, so it'll be some time. But yeah, that one's fully co-op, and I still want to run through 5 and 6 again with you, like, for real. Like, I still appreciated why everybody else hated it. You know what I'm saying?
I liked it a lot, so I thought it was fun. Going through it, some of the stuff, but okay. I mean, Resident Evil Revelation 2, let me know once you get there. I'm be down to try that.
And for anybody else, if you are trying to play, definitely start with 1 and 0. Go through those games. They're very different from the style of the new ones, but if you want to get the full story, I advise that you do play those. 1 is a classic. 0 is a little rough, but 1 is a classic. And I guess I can sort of break for the halfway point because we are very close to it. So in the halfway point, I usually talk about our unofficial sponsor, and that is going to be Epic Games. As always, They have not paid me at all, but that's okay. And so with Epic Games, they have like their free games that they do every week. And I always shed some light on it because they have some good stuff there. There's not a bunch of junk. Sometimes they have some good stuff there. But the free games for this week, from now until March 16th, is the game called Call of the Sea, which I mentioned, I believe, last week. And then the next one is actually going to be from March 16th to the 23rd. That's going to be Warhammer 40,000 Gladius Relics of War. Long title.
Warhammer 40K Gladius Relics of what? You say 40K, not 40,000. Relics of War. Don't
say 40,000. I mean, that's how they wrote
40K.
it. They wrote it like that. I don't know. But yeah.
Warhammer 40K.
That's going to be the free games that they have. So it's only going to be one this week and one next week, basically. But it's still free. And remember, you don't need to have your credit card or debit card attached to the account. You just need an account, period. And you can add them from your phone. You can actually bookmark it to a browser that's on your phone and just check back every 3-4 days. and you'll see something else that's probably new if you haven't already added it. So yeah, that's there. And I also wanted to give a shout out to a game that released that's doing very well, or the DLC. So Dead Cells Return to Castlevania, that launched this past week, and it was very good looking, very good. Got high reviews and everything, and I've seen a lot of streams where people was really enjoying it. So yeah, that released. And then I got a couple other sales, not as many as I did last week, but a couple of them that I can mention. So Little Nightmares 2 is going to be $9.89 on Steam, as well as the eShop and Xbox Live, and also under Humble if you wanted to go for a discount under there. So just under $10 you can get that game everywhere. And then a game that I ain't really like that much, but I just thought I'd mention it. Physical version of Sonic Forces. The Xbox version of this is $7.49 on Amazon and Best Buy. Was not a fan of that. Did you like that one? That one annoyed me.
Okay, I didn't beat it. I played through like three or four levels, but okay.
It was so goofy because it was like the fate of the world is dependent on us, so let's go and run this race.
Yeah, I mean that's Sonic. So
it's so goofy. It's just goofy.
I plan on getting through it at some point. I just didn't.
All right, the next one, big highlight right here. Streets of Rage 4 is $12.49 on the eShop and under PSN. Very good game there. That one game that was on the Xbox side of things, Bright Memory Infinite, if anybody remembers that's $14.99 on Steam. Not really that good of a game, but it's $15, you can give it a shot. I remember the initial presentation of this was very impressive to me before you actually got to see it, and the demo kind of ruined it a little bit. But yeah, that's out there. And then Ori and the Will of the Wisp on Xbox is $5.99. I believe it's also in Game Pass, but if you want to buy it outright, it's $5.99. And then they also have under Xbox as well the Ori Collection, which involves the other Ori game, which is $9.99. But also they're both still on Xbox Game Pass if you have Game Pass. And then a couple other fun stuff. So there's apparently a Dark Souls The Complete Collection. The graphic novel is $17.69 at Amazon. And I thought that was interesting. I was just like, okay, I didn't know they had a graphic novel, but I saw something for that. And then another one I think is also interesting. Apparently God of War has an official cookbook. The Cookbook of the Nine Realms.
Yes.
This is $23.19 at Amazon. I was just like, what? Like, I didn't know they had a cookbook.
So they all do. So God of War. Okay. What else is it? Skyrim has a cookbook. Legend of Zelda has a cookbook. There's a bunch. Like I would say, take your time and actually look for these. They make like interesting recipes based off of things you would see in the game. They all seem fun. So, yeah, definitely check them out. Some TV shows have cookbooks too. Some of them that make sense, like Bob's Burgers, and then like other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, God of War has a cookbook. About time.
That's funny. It's like if you need to meal prep, you can meal prep like a god, I guess. I don't know. But
it makes cooking fun. If you're like, if for somebody they're not like the biggest fan of cooking or just don't know what to make, and like every other recipe book just seems kind of boring, right? But you want to cook more. Now you can make it like game themed. Like if you're about to play God of War and have yourself a God of War meal as you go through it or something like that. So it seems fun.
Yeah. Another one, I think this is one of the last ones. So Final Fantasy VII is $7.99 on the USPS in-store. So just be aware they're actually referring to the original 7. and that's also on PS Plus as well. But just understand it's not the newest one. I did want to actually play that at some point because I never played that one. I haven't played through the Final Fantasies, but I know 7. There's a lot of people that like swear by 7, so I just wanted to check it out for that type of game. And the last thing on the list, or second to last thing, I'll say this first: the Bayonetta Originals, Cereza and the Lost Demon, that demo is available now, so y'all can go get the demo, and your actual like save progression will carry over to the real game once the game comes out. So if you're a Bayonetta fan and you want to see the origins, you can at least get the demo. I do want to get the demo because it's a demo. I get to try it. But yeah, the very last thing, this is a little tongue-in-cheek, but I thought it was hilarious. So apparently you can get early access to the Diablo 4 beta with an order of KFC. KFC Double Down or the qualifying sandwich at KFC apparently gives you access. So anybody out there that needs some fried chicken, go go figure that out. KFC can get you access to the beta apparently for Diablo 4. Hopefully for the vegans out there, there's somebody out there can give you actual access as well.
You want access, you eat meat.
You gotta eat meat. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, well that's it for the halfway point. But I do want to mention, since this is on screen, did you hear about what was going on with Square Enix, I guess, reporting their news about Forspoken and a few other things? Apparently, like, they decided to admit that Forspoken was like a flop, basically. And that's usually not something you would say out loud, but they themselves is almost turning their back on it. And I kind of feel like that's a little messed up. I'm like, man, that's not fair to Forspoken. It's like, it's not really... like it was bad, but it wasn't like the worst thing ever produced, you know? And it's almost seeming like that's how they're trying to treat it. I'm like, there was some people out there that might like it.
Cringy dialogue. That was really, it was, you made it, because I think criticism this game got, Atomic Heart is currently getting the same criticism, where they just said it's an unlikable protagonist and that's who you have to play as the whole time.
Yeah. But I still don't agree with them like closing the studio and reabsorbing it and stuff. It could have still been its own studio and done something else, but apparently they was just losing so much money that it just had to close down. It was like one of the worst release. I did see a report, I don't know how true it was, but I think it was like it sold like just under 30,000 copies in the first week or something. Which I don't know if that's true or not, but I guess they were so dissatisfied with it, where they're just like, shut this all down. Which might be accurate, because they shut the studio down. Like, the game had only been out like a month. Like,
and they were done with the studio.
They was just done. I'm like, yo, it can't be that bad. Like, it can't be that bad. I didn't hear about other studios just shutting fully down. Like, you got indie studios put stuff on the...
Saints Rose...
oh yeah.
Well, they got shut down too, but I would say Saints Row is probably way worse than this.
Yeah, I just thought that was probably just a little much. They could have at least let them do something else, but apparently it's not. Apparently it's like, no, get this off my screen is the energy that they had. So yeah, it is what it is.
It's so sad, because the game looks like it could have been fantastic. Like it looks like it could have been great, and then it's just, I don't know, something just fell off. Maybe better writers or something.
For anybody out there that still wanted to try it, I'm almost certain this is going to be an awesome Black Friday sale this year.
Oh, for sure.
I'm almost certain it definitely is. So for anybody, you can still give it a chance, but I don't know. It might be too late though. They're not even gonna care about the sale. It's gonna be too late. But I guess we can move on. I guess real quick, can you tell me what's going on with the Dead by Daylight movie? What's up with that?
Yeah, so Bloomhouse, uh, Bloomhouse is known for Paranormal Activity, Insidious, The Purge, and then Atomic Monster is another company that's known for Annabelle, Lights Out, and Megan. They're coming
Okay.
together, and they're making a Dead by Daylight movie. So we don't know exact details yet. Of course, James Wan is the CEO of Atomic and founder of Atomic Monster, and I trust him for horror stuff. But
Okay.
they're big fans of the game, and they're just going to be making like something into this world. And what most people were trying to think about is like, is it really going to be like four people trying to like start up generators but being attacked by a monster or something like that? And I don't think that's going to be the premise. I honestly think they're going to make movies based off of the different characters, like the Dead by Daylight original characters, and make a horror movie where I guess like, you know, after the credits it shows how they got sucked into the Dead by Daylight world sort of thing. But like we get their backstory where you get some of the survivors who are related to that killer, and then boom, that's the story, which I'm excited to see. I still got to read. I don't know if it came out yet, but they were doing a comic book for the Legion, which is my favorite character in the game,
Okay.
that I want to read. But I would love to see that as a movie too. It would basically be Scream, but like you can make it darker. So,
But
but
they
I'm
can't
interested to see
add
what they
all
do.
those like DLC characters from all those franchises, right? Or maybe
No, I
they
don't think
can. I
so.
don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, they might be able to, but like, it would be
Maybe
weird to have a
one-
whole movie about what Wesker. They would have to get
maybe somebody might.
Riddick. They would
Yeah.
have to get Riddick to play of the one from Netflix. He give me the Wesker in there.
Yeah, like if they cut the check to somebody, they might be able to do it. But
Yeah, but no, they have enough of their own character. Like they have the Trapper, the Legion. They have like this evil doctor. They have this huntress. Like they have a bunch of their own made characters. The Oni, this gunslinger. Like so, they could really make a bunch of movies, off of just their own people, and maybe even like hint at some of the other ones. So like Ghostface is in the game. You can have a Ghostface mask like hinted around the Legion story. Or they could do their like other knife killer, the one from like the K-pop star, do a movie on him. I thought originally that they would do like a TV series, either Netflix or like HBO, where like each episode or like a couple episodes focus on one of the killers or one of the survivors specifically to give their backstory, and that would be the series. But a movie should be just as good.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting. I'm hoping
Yeah,
they don't
more
do a
horror
lot of
movies.
tongue in cheek like party people teens thing. Like you know how like
Yeah.
a lot of horror films where they did that,
Yep.
especially the slashers.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, they
like
shouldn't. Hopefully, if they stick to like the characters' backstories,
yeah,
at least not all of them will be party people. I know, like the Legion was not a party people; it was just four people just murdering like other people just because, and their leader being extra psycho.
yeah. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll see. Um, Nintendo actually had a direct for their Super Mario movie. Did
Oh,
you
for
watch
Mario
that?
Day, I
Yeah,
did not because I didn't need to see another trailer for the movie. I don't want it more spoiled. Like one trailer for me is enough to determine whether I'm going to watch something or not. Every other trailer after that is just spoiling parts of the movie. Uh, so I didn't watch it. I do feel like the movie should have released on Friday.
I
Like
had
it would
thought
have
about
been
that too. Actually, yeah,
Yeah, Mario Day. The Mario movie comes out. Like I know it would be competing with what Ant-Man and the Wasp, Scream 6, Dungeons and Dragons comes out later this month, and Shazam. But like, it's Mario Day. It would have won, right? So like,
yeah.
they really should have done that instead of April. But oh well. But yeah, I didn't watch it. Did you?
I didn't. I'm in the same boat where I feel like I've seen enough, and everything else would just be somewhat of a spoiler. They didn't have to sell me anymore. I would have been so like, I don't think they would need to. I don't think they need to do anything else. I think it's just, it is what it is. So,
they didn't announce like a new Mario game or anything like that, right?
I don't think so, because the last time they did that type of direct for the movie, they had like a Chris Pratt interview, a Jack Black interview. They was doing those type of things, and so I just assumed they was going to do the same thing.
Probably.
So I was like, yeah, I don't need to see it, but yeah. It is still very, very heavily like animated, where it's like really high quality, and it makes me think like, yo, this is probably what you would get if they had a 4K Switch, almost. Like,
yeah,
like that's if you want to see a preview to Switch 2, if they pull the trigger on like a lot of high quality tech, like that's what it would probably look like in a way. Because it does look very good. It's like Mario hasn't looked that good, like, ever. So, yeah. I guess we can move on. Anything else you want to say about it? We ain't see it. Neither one of us see it. I guess
Mario looked fantastic in the 90s movie, sir.
In the 90s movie, he was a regular grown man, wasn't he? With they had Yoshi as a dinosaur. That joke was hilarious. And then they mixed it up too. Like, was it like Peach with Luigi and Daisy?
Something like that, or they were going after Daisy or something like that. Yeah, it was all mixed up.
They took the whole thing and dumped it on his head. Like, yeah, that was not for
Goombas
kids.
Were
really,
like
either.
Giant lizards.
That would have been funny though if they did the same thing here. They just had like actual people. Because he ain't do no jumpy, flippity, floppity, nothing. He was just a grown man.
Nah.
He was just a grown man.
And John Leguizamo was Luigi. It was just good. It was good. They were just plumbers. It was realistic.
He was a grown man. I guess, man. I guess. But we're getting to my favorite part. So hit the like button for this. We're going to talk about the Playdate Showcase.
Playdate.
Yeah, man. Everybody used to have Playdates when they was kids, man. They used to, you have a Playdate with your friend, and you be all excited to go over their house. They excited to come to your house, and y'all play the video games and stuff. The good old days, man. The couch co-op days.
Is this the game you want to play? You gotta like spin the crank. So here's the thing. Yeah. This system should be like $70 maximum. $75.
Oh, they gonna come for you.
They went up in price. They were like, due to production stuff, we gotta increase the price. Like that's what they said. If anybody was on the fence, they're not increasing the price right away. Like, hurry up and order it. Yeah. But now it does make that fear of missing out thing, where if you were like, do I really want it? And now you hear if you don't order it now, you're gonna have to pay more. Yeah, it's a tactic, but
that works when it's 70 and you increase into 90.
Yeah, but it's also, if you can't even choose to, like, you're like, I'm on the fence, let me hear about it when it's already out. But now you have to pay more, so now you just want to be one of the people who tries it. But all their games are black and white. Like, everything looks like when gaming first started. Like, everything looks like it came on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah. Like, that's it. And it's like, that's cool.
Like Game Boy. Like Game Boy.
Yeah, it does look like the Game Boy. And it's like, okay, that's like... It's like, that's neat for some retro vintage stuff, even though none of them are, like, known games, right? It's all, like, new stuff, but looks old. That's a cool indie thing. But now I heard they were going to have a store in there too. So the thing doesn't even come with all the games. You got to buy more games and everything for it. It's like, I don't know. I'd rather have new stuff. I don't want it to look that old.
As a show, I question them putting the price increase like in the main event spot. It kind of just was like, oh yeah, and we got a little bit of a bad news, but they tried to like play it off and stuff. And it was just kind of like, why did you say it there though? You probably should have, because it kind of sucked the air out the room for a little bit. Because I still like the concept. I do question overall why it's not color to start with though. I'm right there with you as far as that, because at this point you're going to compare it to almost every handheld that's like recent, like even the clones and stuff, they all produce color. So I didn't understand why they went back to the drawing board and was like, we're going to start from here and work our way up. And it's like, well, you're still charging, well, now $200, right? Like, why doesn't it have color?
It's a bunch of unknown games. All of them look very old school and retro. No color. You're going to have to buy more. And the selling point is this thing has a crank. And yet Soldier Boy is not part of this because it could have been called the Crank Dat. It should have been called the Crank Dat. And it's like, that's the game system.
I don't
know.
Funny.
Like, I'm sure it'll be interesting for some that are like really into retro style games only. Yeah. It's a very like hipster kind of crowd. I'm gonna be honest, they were all dressed like hipsters, like while they were talking about the game. Like, it's a very hipster kind of crowd that it's targeted for. So maybe they'll like it. It's just,
I think I didn't want to discredit them in any way though, because I thought that I'm assuming they are all regular developers that are doing this as a project together, but they also probably all work at other studios or indie studios where they produce for eShops and stuff. Because I don't know, because it's not really sustainable if this was their only thing. Because I think they mentioned that they shipped out like 25,000 units. And so I don't think, like for everybody involved, like that's not really an income that's, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is if you're charging $200 for this thing. But like, I did like that when they did mention that they was launching with a store, that they were also like announcing 2 games that was going to be there for free, and you just needed to update the device and then you can get the 2 free games. Yeah. So at least whoever is bought into this, you get 2 free games. So I thought that was cool. It sounded like in passing, maybe you could check that the games are probably going to be really cheap, because they mentioned one of them was like $1 or something. So I don't know. Yeah, they're still charging, but I don't know how expensive they are. I can imagine they can't be in line with like your games that's on actual systems or even Steam. Like, I don't know. It would seem like they have to be cheap, but I didn't know why their hardware was so expensive. But maybe it is hard for them to make. I don't know all the details on it, but it's just.
So I just clicked on one game, the Heidi Spot game, and you could buy it for $6 plus tax.
$6 brand new. Okay. So
probably everything's under 10.
So it's like, if you divide it by 10, it's like, okay, it's $60 games, and so these would be like $6 games and $7 games instead of 70.
There are some free, like there's a bunch on here that's, like get it for free. $5, $6. Okay. Oh, $9 for Tapeworm Disco Puzzle.
That don't sound good. Shout out to Tapeworms, I guess. But yeah, I was just
$9 seems to be their highest one so far. I saw one for $2.
Okay.
Oh, $10 for Bloom.
Okay, that's their AAA one. But I was just, I was just kind of just wondering, just from the get go, like, why doesn't it have color? Because in general, like any kid or something, they're all in a TikTok space, and like with TikTok videos, there's all of these flashing stuff going on the screen, like really fast B-roll or anything, and it's like everything is colorful. And in this day and age, you're going to be the only person with a product.
Well, again, and I think it's because the target is not for them. The target is for like adults who don't really play, to be honest, who either they play everything. Yeah. So they want to play this too, or they don't really play games anymore. And this is going to bring them back to nostalgia stuff when they're a kid. And I found one, it's called Playmaker, and that one's $15.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of up. But at the same time, like the people who don't really play no more, they would go to the phone market. Like they would play games on their phone, I would imagine, which also still has color. I don't know. That would be my only gripe for the machine itself. The crank was unique. I thought it was interesting because there was a guy who was on there who was talking about like if you crank it too fast or you crank it too slow, like you're not doing the game right. For a particular game, you got to crank at a certain speed. So they really utilize it. So, you know, it's unique at its core. It's still kind of unique. It's not really a Game Boy, but I just know for everybody else who's into like the whole like Razer Kishi backbone thing with their phone, or if they pull out a Steam Deck, or if they pull out, everything else is in color. Basically, that was my whole thing. It's like it's $200 and it's not in color, but I don't know. More power to them. I actually do want to follow them a little bit more. Like I was subscribed to the channel because I thought it was still interesting, but I want to follow this probably long term and see how far this goes, you know, and how if people really gravitate towards it. It seemed like it is definitely still for a very, very niche crowd, but I don't know if...
Oh, real quick, from the looks of it, it looks like they have like a season 1 where it comes with 24 games delivered 2 per week. So each week, you're going to get 2 additional games added. And then there's some other ones you can download for free and some other ones that you can pay for. So $200 for eventually 24 games.
Okay.
It makes it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Still no color though, but you know.
Yeah, that was just my gripe, was just the color. But outside of that, my only other thing is definitely the price. I don't know how they arrived to the $200 mark, but it's just, I can't see the public jumping to it at that price, because that's right in line with a Switch Lite, you know, like,
right.
Like it's for a collector and for like an old school person, they probably would add it on, but what new person is going to pick this over a Switch Lite? Like, I don't see anybody doing that.
I agree with you.
Like, it's right in line with it. That's the first thing people are going to say. And then I don't think this is in stores. I'm pretty sure you just got to go from their website. So there's that, you know, so it's not really going to get the word out either.
Like I said, if this thing was like $75, maybe 90, but that would be really pushing it for me. I try it out. Like, I'll try out some of these old school games. Might have some fun, like a good, like, hour's worth of fun for each one, maybe even more, for trying them out. But not 200. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels too, it's like it feels too retro for me for it to be 200. But at the same time, it's like, it's not even like, well, it's retro, but here was these like amazing games I remember that I want to play again. It's like, these are all new though. So it's like a weird retro. So I don't think, trying to having it priced like directly up against something that is better, like the Switch Lite, it's a weird thing for me. But again, I'm interested to see how well it does.
I'm gonna follow it, but I don't know. It didn't look too good just because of the price and the fact that it didn't have color. But I will mention, because I do have a surprise that I thought I would mention, kind of in response to this a little bit. I just wanted to talk about something. I'm going to send you a couple links to this, but there's technically another handheld out there. There's a couple handhelds out there that I'm actually interested in myself, and I might actually buy one. But basically, the market has produced these handhelds that look very similar to like a Game Boy, right? Or a Game Boy, Color. I would say it looked very similar to that. And so there are two main ones that are out there. There's one that's called the Miyoo or Miyoo Mini Plus, and then there's one called the Anbernic RG35XX, right? One of them is like sold out. It's like white hot because it involves, like, it has Wi-Fi on there, and you can actually, it's a ROM machine, emulation machine, obviously, but you can move stuff wirelessly because it's
in color.
yeah, and they're both in color, obviously. But the one that's in, like, you can press buy right now and get it by next week, is the RG35XX. That thing basically plays, well, both of them. They play the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo games, the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, the Game Gears. It plays all of the ROMs. And it also, like, I haven't really looked into these that much because I figured like a lot of them are generic, but these two are actually a little bit more name brand to the fans out there, right? And basically they've evolved to the point where one of them is going to be with Wi-Fi, and the other one you can actually hook up to your TV with an HDMI cord, almost like it is a Switch, and use a Pro controller to work it, right? And so I have the list now. So it has PS1 emulation to it, all the arcades, the Neo Geo, and then all the Game Boys, like I mentioned before, and then the Super Nintendos, the Famicom, the Game Gear, right? Even Xbox One, the original Xbox One emulation. Now, one of these machines is available right now. You can get it for $55.99. And when you get it, it's already preloaded with a bunch of stuff, but then you can put an SD card into it and load it up, basically, with everything, all the emulation stuff, and play all the other stuff. And the reason why I mention is because when people see them handhelds, they think retro anyway, and they were going for a retro look, but the things that they have to compete with is like far ahead of them for a fraction of the price, and it also incorporates a lot of nostalgia. The only thing they got going for them, the Playdate, is that they're like exclusive original games, and that's for now. I would not be surprised if somebody created a little machine that emulates their stuff too, you know, and there'll be an incentive for you to go with the emulated one because of the price. But this thing, I mean, for $55, and you could put a 128 gig SD card in it. It apparently can hold up to 8,000 games of all those systems. And if it's smaller than your wallet, basically. And it's just as solid as those old Game Boys and stuff. And fraction of the price. You're talking about a fourth of the price, basically. You know, and I just wanted to mention it. And I'm probably going to leave links in the description for whoever is interested in this type of thing, because I'm actually interested in one of them, because $55 is nothing. You know, I might get one sometime in the summertime. But then at the same time, like those type of games, you can still probably play on your phone. You can still probably play on your laptop or desktop, or maybe if you mod your Switch, and then obviously the Steam Deck. But it's like, yo, if you coming out with a system, you got to compete with these things. Like, unless your games are really popping, like there's no star game, you know, for the Playdate, you know. But with this type of machine, everything is the star. You can go play anything, you know. The Playdate, I don't even think there's an ability for you to do emulation on the Playdate. Like, for like, let's say you got the Playdate, but you could also play like old school stuff if you put an SD card into it. I don't even think that's possible with that, which I don't think is good when you think of the market. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get you.
So, not to be negative with it, but I'm like, yo, this thing is $55 and it's built solid. I've watched some videos on that. It is built solid, you know? And then the average person can do like emulation on their phone if they wanted to with touchscreen. They don't even have to go get like a Backbone or Razer Kishi. And you're producing a little bit better than that thing that they got. So I don't know. Am I being too harsh? They're going to come for me. I know it. But I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel like those things are way better. And the price is crazy cheap. It's like the price of a game. Full price, basically. So, I don't know. I'm just saying I would go for that. I would go for that over over that. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick. And then I'm gonna leave both links. Apparently, there are more links, but those are the cheapest ones. If you go under Amazon, you're gonna run into some scalpers, people trying to sell them for like 100 plus. But if you go to these websites, even though a couple of them aren't available yet, the lowest one is like $55. They got some that's like more Nintendo Switch looking, that are like up to like 150 to 200, where it emulates like GameCube and PS2 as well, you know. And so these type of things is out there for that price range. That's all I'm saying. And it's like, how do you compete with a game like a PS2 game in your pocket, you know? It's like, I don't know. They gotta come harder is all I'm saying. The crank ain't gonna save them. That's all I'm saying. They gotta come harder. Is that bad? Am I harsh? I don't think that's harsh.
Nah, it's real. It's realistic. That's why I'm interested to see, like, do they? Because like, is it gonna get major sales? Like, to hear that they shipped 25,000 units. Still, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
That's still good,
so I was like, yeah. So it's just like, how, you know, I want to see how great does this thing do. Maybe these games, even being in black and white, are just amazing, and we don't know. Or maybe the whole like crank thing is so innovative that like, it is like a game changer for the handheld. Like, who knows? But I just personally don't see it.
But that's the thing. I think I do need to mention this too. One of these handhelds is sold out, and the Playdate isn't.
True. That's true.
So yeah. With all due respect, I'm not trying to be too harsh. I want to root for it because it's still unique.
You can tackle them and say, I don't want to be too harsh.
But we might be the only ones that's kind of covering it, because I think the only news that they got was that their price was incring. Like,
everything
when I saw,
you're saying has been harsh.
Like, no, but I mean, they didn't get no other no other traction anywhere else. Because I was seeing the reports, and they were just like, "Oh, this thing." They announced that they increased their price. They didn't talk about none of the games, or not that it came with 2 free games, nothing. Because if you look at the price of some of those games, it like equates to the price increase, and they tried to announce 2 free games, and it kind of like, if you look at it, it's like, if you look at the math you would do, it's like, if those games were free, it probably would have cost that much anyway. It reminds me of like when Nintendo tried to do that little thing online with Tears of the Kingdom, when they knew that was going to have some backlash for being 70. So there was like, well, here's this thing where you can get 2 games for 50 each. It's like, okay, all right, but I don't know, it didn't work. So what do you think? You gonna buy this, man? You buying it day one?
No, I already said, like, it would have to be under 100 for sure. It would have 70 to me is a good pricing point for that, especially for how retro everything is. 70 is a good pricing point.
I'll make a note to check back around Black Friday. I want to see if they participate, and I'll keep an update maybe every other month. Maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna keep one of their links bookmarked to see more news on it, you know, just to see what's going on. But
okay,
yeah, I do want to get ready to wrap things up. We're actually doing really good on time. So one of our last thing is The Last of Us. Isn't that interesting? It's The Last of Us episode 8. So the next episode is going to be their last episode. So when this goes out, that night is going to be the last episode. Yeah. And so they got a lot to do, I guess, in that episode, in a way, because I like this episode. It is very faithful to what you play in the game. Okay. If I had any other gripe, you already know what the gripe is going to be. They still omitted all zombies whatsoever. They still did a whole nother episode. There's actually more episodes without zombies than there is episodes with them now.
I'm starting to realize a lot of shows do that. And I wonder if they have this idea that, like, they're afraid that it's going to be like over, like, saturated, where it won't be. Like, they should have more zombies, but I feel like they have this fear always that it's just going to be like, it's too many zombies. It's just like, it's not. It's definitely lacking.
I don't know. I do say the actor that played David though did his job very well. He did it very, very well. I almost wish that this was more of a two-parter episode, a little bit more, so that they could bring back the zombies and stuff that you played in between. Because they gave 2 episodes to old girl, like episode 4 and 5, and she was basically a whole made-up character for this series.
Yeah.
And David was way more impactful. He was way more like scary, sadistic in a way, you know, sick, obviously. Yep. And it really like there was more going on than the other girl, like saying, "Oh, I want revenge for my brother" or something. Right. Like, yo, this dude had bodies hanging upside down. Yeah. You know, yep. And
clearly was a psycho, treated himself, he had a god complex, and then tried to hook up. Like, so there's one specific, I think the Ellie actors did this part so well, and it was so little, where he goes, so he says something about like, me and you can like run this together. It's like when he finally, it's almost revealing that he wants to like be with her.
Yeah, it was and everything, very creepy and, like, and stuff. Yeah,
when we were gonna run it, and it's like as soon as that realization, he says that one line, she just goes, "Oh," like her "oh" was like, "Oh, that's what this is." Like, and you can, like, it was just the way she said it was like, like, yeah, we gotta get out of here. I don't know, it was like, it had me cracking up, but like still understanding the brevity of the situation is the way she said "oh" is like, oh, you crazy. But yeah, from somebody who hadn't played the game, I thought this was great. This should have been 2 episodes. I feel like maybe the whole focused on like the past and Riley and everything should have taken up like half of the episode 7, and this guy should have been part of the other half of episode 7.
Yeah,
because I would love to see like his people like turn on him when it's like revealed he out here eating people. They probably ate homegirl's dad. Him going crazy on some like I want to marry a child and all this other stuff, and like I would have, because it was like basically all that happened is these people had a leader. They were scared of these 2 outsiders who killed this girl's dad, and now they also killed their leader and 4 of their hunting party. Right? Like, it's like that's all these people know, and there was a fire in one of their buildings, and none of them did anything about it. And it was like, I want to see them like also realize this leader's crazy and turn against him. Like, even if they just leave or something like that, or they're just like turning an eye because they understand he's a villain. And I also feel like they had to kind of rush to make sure you knew this dude was a villain in a way, like, because they needed you to like understand, oh, he's the bad guy, like really quickly. So like the way he was acting, it was more like, how is he able to hide how crazy he was to these people for so long, where in this like one episode he just like snicked, like completely, like he slapped the girl, he yelled at his
crazy, because everybody was just kind of like, they let that go, the mama and everything, they kind of just, that was wild.
Which I feel like that's their reasoning for like not helping or anything like that in the end. But like the building being on fire and you don't see any of them is probably like, oh yeah, nah, this dude's crazy. But it feels like all of this crazy had to happen quickly because it had to happen in just this one episode. Where if they had time to stretch it out, you could have seen like these people are just following him because they're scared, and then all of a sudden you could just see this slow crazy even build up trust with Ellie just to turn out to be a monster or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like I liked it a lot. I just feel like it had to rush.
It reminded me of the governor. You remember the governor from Walking Dead? It kind of reminded me of that, but just like way more sadistic.
Yep.
You know, it was something like that. But I thought he did a really good job. Troy Baker
for sure.
was in there. He was playing, I think his name was James.
Yep, the assistant guy.
Just a henchman. And then they had like a few other people here and there. They haven't done a side character for the actress who played Ellie in the game, so I would imagine she
is in the next episode. They already announced that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would imagine she in the last episode, because I think the key people were all showing up one by one here and
It
there.
unfortunately got spoiled for me who she is in the last episode.
Okay.
Because everything just kept saying she was going to be in the last episode, going to be in the last episode. And then some random thing was like, we now know who she's playing. It's this person. And I'm like, oh, come on. So I understand. Like, it's like they could have left the who she is in the article. They put it in the title. So that was annoying. But I won't spoil it. And I mean, I didn't play the game through. So, like, you know.
Yeah, technically, it's already spoiled for me. I played the whole game. I think I can already guess who she going to be. I
don't want to spoil it right here. I'm not going to confirm or deny.
I just know, like, there's only, unless she a henchman that's gonna get like clapped up, like she would just have to be in the operation room, basically.
But yeah, maybe. But I will say, yeah, I think Troy did his job well. I liked when push comes to shove, Joel was like able, like when he's on the ground, like, and then all of a sudden he's like out here killing again. It's just like, man, this dude's a monster.
That was still a big moment in the game too. That was still a big moment. I would have liked to see the moment where Ellie and David had to team up, because there was a moment where they actually got overran by the zombies, and the bloater shows up too. Like, remember I told you before, they skipped another bloater basically. But
that would have been cool, even if that was the reason why the little like restaurant area caught fire, was fighting the zombies, and then after they win the thing, he instantly is like, well, now you're mine again, and that's when she has to start hiding. That would have been great.
Yeah, I think that still happened the way it did in the game a little bit, and then the part where she was still chopping them up with a machete. The difference was, like, in the game, like, Joel actually stops her, like, and like she's still chopping away at him. He's clearly dead, and Joel actually like was like, "Look, stop! It's me." But in the show, you know, she just sees Joel like right outside or whatever. So that was like a different change. Yeah,
I liked it that way. Like she was able to finally get her composure, get outside, and freak out again because she's still like, you know, stuck. So I thought that was a decent change. I would have liked
look a little bit darker. I would say it did seem a little bit more darker here because it was real life with like people hanging upside down. Because in the video game, especially when it like really first came out, that didn't look. It would look like just a video game, you know, people upside down and like dead or whatever. It's like, but when you see it in real life a little bit, it's like, oh, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy. And it's like, yo, we did what we had to do because we ain't had that much food, and that was crazy. That was crazy.
It's crazy to me that people don't have. Is it because it's the winter? Because I was like, we just saw that they can grow produce.
Yeah.
Right. We saw that they could grow strawberries, so like they could grow potatoes. and like.
Yeah, but they
just have potatoes and corn.
I think the only thing that was kind of weird is just that it seemed like that deer and the horse, like they seem very good at shooting because they still snagged her, you know, like they shot the deer, or not the deer, they shot the horse and she fell off the horse and everything. So it was like if that one deer was in the area, technically there probably should be more. You guys are skilled riflemen. I don't know. It's like you didn't have to eat people. You could probably
just easier to eat people.
Yeah, I guess it's like, oh, this guy's sick. And it's like, oh, what happened to him? Oh, he turned to a zombie, so we got him down. And then it's like, don't worry, guys, we got more food. And it's like, yo. But
was that his plan, too, when he was like, we can't do a proper burial until the ground is soft? And they're going to be like, well, the body decayed too much, so we can't tell who it is. And everything. And they done ate the dad.
Yeah, they probably fed him. They probably did eat the dad.
They probably did. But
probably did it.
I'm interested to see this last episode. It does feel like things are gonna have to be rushed again. Maybe this would have been beneficial from like a 10 episode series instead of 9. And of course, you know, cutting certain things short.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying getting rid of a lot of some of the stuff altogether, but cutting it shorter to let other stuff breathe more.
Yeah, this episode was great. It felt a little rushed. That's all. It felt a little rushed.
I agree.
I
I will say this though, real quick, that I how I can tell I'm enjoying this show is how soon I'm watching the episodes. Like they drop on Sunday, I'm watching it like Sunday or Monday. When usually it would be like Friday or like like Thursday, like something like that. Like it's the end of the week for me, and it's like nah, I'm watching it like in the middle right away. Let's go. So it's I'm enjoying it.
So for next episode, we're definitely gonna still review the last episode, but then we could probably overview the whole show, maybe rate the whole show. I will say for the last episode, there were two big moments in the game where I'm almost certain the way that they do their pacing, one of them has to be cut out. Where you as Joel go against a bunch of zombies, and then you as Joel go against a bunch of like fireflies, basically.
It's gonna be the fireflies.
It's like they've been cutting the zombies out so much. It's like, yo, they got to bring them back somehow. There's no way.
Maybe
but
like he has to fight both at the same time. Like it's going to be like some of the fireflies can't kill him because they're also fighting the zombies off. So he's like fighting, like in the way. Remember the part where he's like sniping from the house in episode 5, and it's like those people are coming through, but then the zombies are also there. Maybe he has to fight both.
Yeah, episode 5, they took a little bit of liberty there with that to introduce the bloater.
Which I actually liked it, though, and I want that bloater to come back.
Yeah, he has to. There's no way they can leave him out again. Because in the game, you fight 3 of them. There's one where you fight just one, and then you progress a little bit further, and there's 2 more, and there's still a bunch of clickers, a bunch of runners and stuff.
We haven't had clickers recently.
Yeah, Clicker's been gone for a minute, too. It was just
was that a clicker in the episode where they showed the past? Last episode?
That was a stalker. That wasn't a
stalker. Okay,
because the clicker's whole face is split up, basically.
That's right. Yeah, we've only had the one side of a clicker. Well, 2 of them technically there.
Yeah.
And then one bloater.
Yeah.
He just haven't been in there.
For me, that would be my overall gripe for the whole thing. Is like not enough of that. Not enough of it. So I would have wanted to see more. I know it's going to be even less when it comes to Last of Us 2 because it was like that for the game. So,
do you think they'll put in more to try and make up for the people who didn't like the direction of the game? Where it's like that's going to be their change now is like, well, yeah, the story is the part we're not the biggest fan of, but the stuff that's happening in between we do love.
They would basically have to not kill Joel somehow until like the middle.
Nah, you know they'll do that.
If they kill him first episode, they kill the show. It dies. It dies.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see about it. I think that's pretty much it. There is one last topic I wanted to mention that was like probably more tongue in cheek, and it can literally last 60 seconds. It don't even have to be that long. But I thought since we talked about this in the past, because it's kind of funny, not gaming related at all, there was mention that Will Smith, he said he was hurt and embarrassed about what Chris Rock has said in his last stand-up that everybody's talking about.
I haven't seen Chris Rock stand-up yet, but I have seen, first of all, it was generically the people who take offense to everything. Yeah. Right? That's like my social media groups or the people who was already against him to begin with constantly going like, wow, that was trash. This was stupid, blah, blah, blah. And then the people who have a more open sense of humor and a lot of stuff and he just thinks it's a joke was like, yo, that was funny and everything. So in my head, I'm like, okay, the special was funny. It was just he still insulted Will or Jada and then y'all just took offense because he's being so I haven't watched it yet, but the fact that Will's out here was like, yeah, I'm offended. It's like, I bet he's still offended about the slap.
Like, yeah, he was trying to say he need to move on or something.
You need to move. The last thing he said before this was like, man, after the slap, I'm back or something. Like he keeps bringing it up.
It was funny.
And everything. I think, wasn't there the joke saying that, like, I think Chris Rock said he watched his Slave movie just to see him get hit?
Yeah, it was like some wild stuff. They was just saying wild stuff. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Well, it's his fault. He brought the issue up. He made a big stink about it. He's the one that did the whole apology story. He needed to go to India to clear his head. He's the one that came back and just said, I'm apologize for it. Then bring it up about how he's moving it past. Then they keep having the award show people behind the stage constantly bring up how we need to have more security and everything like that. It's like, you artificially blew this up because you was mad that your wife is for the streets. Like, that's where you're upset about. Now you want to get mad at Chris Rock. Like, he a comedian, doing what comedians do. This weird thing where now everybody wants to turn. It's like everybody's like, "Oh, Chris Rock's funny." Now all of a sudden it's like, "I've never found Chris Rock funny. He's always been this and that." They're doing the same thing with Eminem. As a side note, I saw that where it's like, now that we're adults, can we admit that Eminem was never good? Like, calm down. All you did was listen to Eminem, and now you're just jumping on a hate bandwagon because other people are doing the same thing. Like, relax. Like, you can't tell me this dude's trash where if I played My Name Is, you can recite all of the lyrics, that he ain't trash. Like, you clearly listen to him. And it's the same thing for Chris Rock. All of y'all watched Everybody Hates Chris and thought it was the funniest thing. Y'all like his movies and all of that other stuff. And now that it's popular to hate on him because you want to side with Jada for some reason, all of a sudden, now it's easy to be like, I never found him funny. You a lie.
I just thought the whole thing was a mess and it was funny to me. But yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was just ignorance acting ignorant. Like, yeah, I'm gonna watch the special at some point. I'll watch it, but
I think I might watch it too.
Personally is, I'm a fan of like Chris Rock in terms of like acting and all that other stuff. I've never really found his stand up that funny, personally.
Okay.
But just personally, since I've tried watching his stand-up before, some of it might have been just because of the 90s topics I didn't really care about. But, like, when I try to watch it, I don't know, I never really found his stand-up as my cup of tea, and I watch a lot of stand-up. But I love his, like, acting roles and stuff that he does. I always, like, enjoy the movies that he's in. So, yeah, I don't know. This is, people just hating to hate, but, like, Will Smith need to come down. He hurt my feelings. Where is the Fresh Prince, bro? Where is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Where is that Will? Where is the 90s Will? Like, now he's just a punk, bro. Like, he hurt my feelings. He's dating he's married to Tupac's girl. Like, it's just, he's embarrassing, bro. Like, Will was that guy. Now he's just,
It's hilarious. I just thought I'd mention it real quick because I thought it was tongue-in-cheek humor. But yeah, I think that's all we got here. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And yeah, more content this week. I'm actually finally start releasing some real vids again. I'm going to record some more tomorrow. Okay. And yeah. So put some stuff out there because I actually hadn't been doing that much. So I'm going to do some more. And yeah, have a great rest of your day, people. Thank you so much if you made it this far, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.